Alright, so this is our final stand, I guess. Or, something like that, Because we are going to infiltrate Castle Hogstein and maybe find out who's behind the mask? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It depends if Shirabe can get to the bottom of this mystery. I guess we'll see. Castle Hogstein towered above us in the night, the harsh lights that illuminated it casting sharp-edged shadows. Final battle. The final boss. His voice was calm and hard. How can a voice be hard? I don't know how that works. I'm sure you'll win. We're this close to the truth. He smiled at me. Why are you bringing this up now? Oh, come on, that's not true. He was staring off into the distance, and it made me nervous. Stop that. You're talking like you're about to die. It's bad luck to do stuff like that. I tried to keep my voice cheerful, but he turned to look at me with a crooked smile. Of course. Besides, there's nothing saying we can't all hang out together again. A look of surprise spread across his face. Oh. I suddenly realized I'd just been assuming he would want to, when the truth was I had no idea. I mean, you don't have to, only if you want to. I could feel my face turning red, but Shirabe just grinned. Yeah. Huh? Shirabe. ... Does that mean? He sighed. Yeah, that's what I feel too. I've been saying this entire time. His route is like, I don't know, it's weird because he's just a lot older. What's up, Dream Intern? Is that what it is? Dream Intern? I'm just playing a Tome game, Mystery Otome game. I'm going through a bunch of routes. This is the Shirabe route that I'm doing. It's the older gentleman, this guy. His tone said it was a joke, but then he shook his head. And we're pretty close to the end, actually. I like that, or it doesn't matter. Oh boy. Well, just to say again, I mentioned before, but like, I believe the way it works in Japan is that, you know how like the age of consent for a lot of things is 18 and everything? I know in Japan, technically, the age of consent is 13, which is, is very low, but they also have another law covering minors. So anyone under 18 is considered a minor. So the way it works in Japan is that technically it's not illegal for an older dude to date like someone who's like 17, for example, because technically, according to the law, as long as it's not immoral, I guess, it's very subjective, but like as long as it's not like a abusive relationship, then it's okay if, for example, Saki gets permission from her parents or whatever. I think that's how it works. I still think it's weird though, even if it's legal in Japan. But I guess that's just how it works. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It was the truth, even if I'd been a little afraid to say it. What? Or I nodded. I'm not making fun of you. I shook my head. I'm really not. I honestly like you. I wanted him to see me as more than just a friend, something more special. Oh boy. If you could just understand that somehow. I looked up into his face and it seemed like he did understand. He rubbed the back of his head bashfully. Yeah, well, there it is. Then I realized, oh geez, I haven't even really asked him how he feels. And he hadn't really said anything. What if I gotten everything wrong? I'm so sorry, I didn't even ask. I shouldn't have said anything. Huh? Suddenly I felt his arms around me. Oh. I was too surprised to think of anything to say, but Shirabe filled the silence. I mean, she is a kid. Anyway. Well, you know, look at localizations, she's 18. But I don't know. He's still too old. He's too young. Whatever. He's an anime character. They're anime characters, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Me, charming, with my bomb hair. There's like a fuse sticking out of it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That kid's too young. I don't know how I feel about this relationship. I mean, me too, but with you. He smiled. I nodded. So all I'm saying is that the age gap, you know, matters less when you're both a lot older, or at least Saki is a lot older. You know, like when she's still in high school, so that's just weird to me. I don't know, but it's like it's an anime trope though. You know how like a lot of romance anime often when two characters get together, you know, in a lot of like romance rom-com anime, whatever, often one of the characters, usually the guy, they have to meet up with the other person's parents to ask for permission to date them and everything, you know, which is kind of weird actually. It's not really a thing in, I feel like, outside of Japan, maybe in other Eastern countries, but you know, in Western society you don't really do that. But it's a thing in, you know, in Japan. Especially if the other party is, you know, older, like Shirabe. Anyway. Okay. Ayumu. I guess that's his first name, by the way. Ayumu. Sounds like a feminine name, really. Ayumu. I really heard of it before. Of course, they smooch. He looked deep into my eyes and then gently, softly re-kissed. Yeah, actually, it's the only CG actually where the lips actually touch. All the other smooching scenes, all the other guys, they don't actually smooch. This one actually is full-on mouth-to-mouth. I tasted the faintest hint of chocolate. Yes, because he's been eating that Pocky the entire time. I nodded back. So enough of that sappy romance, time to actually, you know, do the thing. We stood up straight, squared our backs, and walked toward the castle. Yeah, he said it was off to the side and pretty well hidden. With both of us working together, it didn't take long to find. We pressed it and the door began to creak open. Yep. We stepped through the door and were met by the solemn atmosphere of the audience chamber. We hadn't been there since the first day, but I remember what had happened to them all too well. Hogstein. He was sitting on the throne as if he never moved. We're finally here. He feigned an expression of exaggerated surprise.
ワルド部、お前に話がある。
なんでなんでしょう。アポイントもなしに私のところに落ちかけてくるなんて、よほど大事なお話ですか。
Ayumu shrugged. Again, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Ayu? To me, Ayu is, again, a feminine name, but I don't know. It could just be a Japanese name I've never seen before. Ayumu. Ayumu.
ああ、
Ayumu.
このくだらないゲームの根幹に関わる大事な話だ。
He cleared his throat and began.
まず、このゲームの参加者は、全員が金堂循環バス炎上事故に何かしらの形で関わってる。ワルド部、お前は意図的に俺たち関係者を集めたんだ。浦部から聞いたぜ。あの事故を画策したのは浦部の父親だと。父親の罪を知って苦悩していた浦部の心につけ入り、お前は奴を仲間に引き込んでゲームの参加者に混ぜた。そしてここからは俺の推測だが、ワルド部、お前自身もあの事故の被害者遺族なんじゃないのか。このテーマパークは事故を画策した浦部の父親が心血を注いで建設に携わったものだ。お前は復讐のためにここを爆破しようとしてる。違うか。
Hogstein said nothing, so Ayumu barged ahead.
報酬メモにはそれぞれ事故に関わる言葉が書かれていた。7月7日日曜日、そして炎上したバスの系統番号、それに加えて M2 という言葉。メモが欠けてるせいで答えはわからないが、報酬メモの答えはお前の正体だ。
Come on, we're so close. There was a long moment of silence, and then Hogstein began to shake with laughter.
さすがシラベありました。
何がおかしい。
あの3場所の中で真実に近づくことができるのはあなただけだと思ってましたが、ここまで調べてしまうとは正直予想外でした。やはりこれはイナフネサキさん、あなたというイレギュラーな存在が大きいのでしょうね。
Me?
そう、調べありましたの情報とあなたのひらめき、この2つが合わさって予想以上の大きな効果を生んでしまったのです。
I mean, did she do anything? I just remember that one gameplay section where she, connected the clues, whether or not, like, for example, the sun was actually literally the sun, or is it Sunday? Technically, if you failed that part, Shirabe would have figured it out anyway, so it doesn't... I feel like Saki actually didn't do anything. Anyway.
そいつは残念だったな。何もかも自分の思い通りに行くと思ったら大間違いだぜ。
それであなた方はそこまで知ってこれから一体どう伝え通してるんですね。
俺はお前の真実が知りたい。
真実。
事故の真相は分かった。だがお前のことは何も分かっちゃいない。なぜゲームなんていうまどろっこしい手間をかけるんだ。復讐が目的なら事故を仕組んだ浦部の父親に直接恨みを晴らせばいいだけの話だ。それにいくら事故に関わってるからといって指導たちを巻き込む必要性がどこにある。まあ俺個人に関して言えば遺族にひどい仕打ちをしたんだからお前に恨まれて当然かもしれないが。
Silence fell over the room. It was odd to hear Hogstein, usually so talkative, suddenly quiet. What was he thinking behind that weird pig suit?
なるほど、私のことが知りたい。わかりました。お教えしましょう。
なんだと？
There's no way it's that easy. But that was what he said.
私はこの通り太っ腹ですからね。知りたいならこれをどうぞ。
He tossed something down toward us. treasure chest? It looked just like the one that had held the other notes. Is it the one for the hospital, maybe? Either he had a copy, or maybe he had it this entire time. We walked slowly toward the chest. Ayumu picked it up off the floor and opened it.
Memo ka.
I assume it's the missing note. We never get, in every route. Maybe in this one we do. Is Hogstein's identity written on it? He pulled the note out of the treasure chest and unfolded it. It said, well, that was weird. Technically, that for some reason it says Saki Inafune, but that's narration, So that's not like she's saying that out loud for some reason. It said,
Hazure?
Hazure? What? Wrong. Ah! With a tremendous clang, a giant cage dropped from the ceiling. In an instant, we were trapped. Oh. We got tricked. Hey, let us out! But he didn't respond, and several piglets appeared out of nowhere to cover the cage with a black cloth. Ah! I suddenly felt very sleepy. What's going on? My body was sluggish, and I could feel my consciousness beginning to fade. Ayumu. That was all I managed to say before reality disappeared completely. Like, literally, all of reality vanished, and then we died. No? It's just none of this. Is this the same? Yeah, this is the same. Stage 7. The final stage. And where am I? I looked around, my mind still fuzzy. Oh, we're back here. The animal costumes. Oh, that's right, we got knocked out. My best guess was that we'd been hit with some sort of sleeping gas. We appeared to be in some kind of dressing room. On the walls were several costumes, and there were a number of fitting rooms with large mirrors. Ugh. As soon as I tried to move, though, I realized my hands and feet were bound. Yeah. I twisted my head toward the voice and saw Ayumu tied up next to me. What did you expect? Just ran up there and said, aha, I know things now, now tell me, what's the truth? And it was like, nah. Well, it kind of came out of nowhere. He caught us by surprise. We hadn't expected him to give up so quickly. Of course, he hadn't actually given up. I wonder where we are. Hogstein's voice filled the room. What are you gonna do with us? Then he was gone. No. Yet again, we're gonna be a hostage. Well, it didn't really happen on Shirabe's route, because we went to the Coliseum early, but I remember in Wakasa's route as well, we were meant to be hostages again. We were meant to be hostages in the next game, whatever, but we escaped in Wakasa's route, we're gonna escape here as well, I don't know. So where's the reward? Yeah, we need to get out of here, somehow. They're so tight. Okay. We struggled for a few minutes in an attempt to loosen them, but it was no good. Minutes ticked by, and we were no closer to escaping. What do we do? If we can't escape, we're just gonna get dragged off to be hostages. What is it?
Saki,
can you reach my butt? I don't know if this is appropriate, Shirabe. I know we made out and everything, but is this really the time? Well, yes, I think I can, but is this really the time? That's actually the joke. You know what? Save. Okay, so I'm just saving every decision, even the most, innocuous decision might get me a game over, so I always save before every single one. Is this really a time for that?
おいおい、何勘違いしてるんだ。
Okay. Huh?
俺の尻ポケットに拳銃が入ってるんだよ。
Oh, right, of course. I could see the bulge of the gun. Apparently, they hadn't searched us very well after they knocked us out. Okay, here we go. I twisted my body toward him, and I stretched my hand out until I could feel the hard metal of the gun. Just a little further. There! My fingers finally wrapped around the tip of the gun. Got it.
よし、よくやった。それをこっちに渡してくれ。
Okay. I twisted my around? Or twisted me around? Or twisted my body around, rather? And handed the pistol to him.
よし。お前は俺の体に隠れてろ。
I scooted up next to him on the floor. He pointed the gun at the one with the large mirrors and pulled the trigger. Ah!
大丈夫か？
You're not wearing ear protection. Every time anyone shoots a gun in a video game, it's gonna probably make you go deaf or something. Or at least, cause some ear problems. Yeah, just surprised. The mirror shattered and pieces scattered out across the floor.
よし、これを使おう。
Oh, he's gonna use the mirror pieces. Well, I'm surprised that, a gunshot in a room shattering a mirror isn't loud enough to, alert some people, After a little bit of trouble, he managed to pick up one of the fragments.
サキ、お前の腕をこっちに向けてくれ。
He pressed a shard of shard of mirror against the ropes and started to saw back and forth.
よし。
I felt the pressure of the rope disappear from my wrists.
俺のも頼む。
Hold on a sec. I carefully took the piece of metal out of his hand and cut through the rope around Ayumu's wrists. Once that was done, cutting off the rope around her ankles was easy.
よし。ここから脱出するぞ。
He tried to climb to his feet, but grunted in pain when he put weight on his ankle. Just hold on to me.
ありがとう。
With one hand on my shoulder, he managed to stand up. But just as we were about to leave, two piglets rushed into the room. That's what I thought.
銃声を聞かれちまったか。
They started to move toward us, but Ayumu held up the pistol almost casually. He's holding it like gangster style, sideways. He really is.
おっと、そこを動いてくれるなよ。俺も撃ちたくはないんだな。
He grinned as the piglets slowly raised their hands into the air. Wow, this is like a scene from an action movie. Man. He looks like a villain though. Does he look like a villain? He's so smug. That's why I said in the beginning, Shirabe and also Urabe, they both look like villains, which is sort of true of Urabe. But he's like not really a bad guy. He was forced to be a bad guy. But yeah, they look like bad guys. They're villains, criminals. There was something so manly about him, apparently. He looked at me with a wink and a sideways smile, and I felt my face warm. Oh geez, he's so cool. Hakui, I guess. Is it really? Is it cool to be waving around a gun? Maybe in Japan.
行くぞ、サキ。
Because, in Japan you probably don't see guns a lot in real life. So maybe it's more cool there. Otherwise, outside, it's more dangerous, actually. You just swing around a gun everywhere. Very poor trigger discipline, by the way. I think he was putting his finger into the trigger. Not great. But I guess that's part of the intimidation. I just stared at him for a long moment until I realized he was actually talking to me. Oh, right. After heading down the dark hallway, we found ourselves in a room that looked like a recording studio.
立てやがったな。
There are more piglets waiting for us. 3 this time.
動くんじゃない。
As soon as they started toward us, Ayumu lifted the gun.
指一
Ayumu.
本でも動かしてみろ。
I have a hard time saying his
迷わ
name.
ず撃つぜ。
Ayumu. Ayaya. No, Ayumu. Ayuyu. They threw their hands up in furrows. He gestured with the gun for them to move out of the way, and they complied. I think we're going to make it. We stepped out of the attraction and into the sunlight. Ah yes. The power of gun fixes everything. I pulled out my phone to check the time, already past noon.
なんとか銃を撃たずに外に出られたな。はったりでもかましてみるもんだ。
Wait, you mean you wouldn't have actually shot them? He nodded and gave me a crooked smile. He was just pretending.
そりゃそうさ。素人が人に向かって銃なんか撃ったらどこに当たるかわからんからな。俺もさすがにまだ人殺しにはなりたくないさ。
Oh, I get it.
とはいえ、お前が危険な目に遭いそうな時は別だがな。
He looked over at me and his mouth tightened. There was no question that he was serious. Ayumu. We heard a sudden low noise of movement from all over the park as all the piglets began to search for us.
あっちに行くぞ。隠れるんだ。
We ducked behind some shrubs and crouched down.
さて、これからどうするかな。
What should we do? Actually, I don't know. This sounds actually important. We might get a game over if we choose the wrong one, actually, for this decision. Let's do the dumb thing and confront Hogstein right now. We have to go confront Hogstein. He nodded. Oh, actually, it is the right thing.
人質になるのはなんとか回避できたし、他の連中の迷惑になること。
Maybe it's again. I thought it was the dumb thing to just go back again right after we got
あい
captured.
つらも言ってくれたからな。真実を突き止めろと。
So maybe it's the correct thing to do. Yeah, I want to know what's going on with all this too.
よし、奴のところに向かおう。今度はこいつを使う。もう油断はなしだ。
I guess this time we have a gun. You know, at least there's that. We should have used the gun before. Ayumu hefted the pistol. Ah. We were going you know, because of other piglets. Just as we went to leave, several piglets appeared in front of the attraction. I was wondering why, you know, Saki suddenly just yelled out for no reason. There were at least 6 of them.
銃があるとはいえ、あれだけの人数で一度に来られたら厄介だな。物陰に隠れながら進もう。
We cut across, keeping out of sight, eventually reached Alice Cart Grand Prix. There are piglets here too.
向こうの建物の陰に隠れながら進もう。
Yeah. We held our breath as we waited for the piglets to pass. Just go away already. As I watched the piglets amble slowly by, I heard Ayumu speak up.
なあ、サキ。この7日間、いろんなことがあったな。
Yeah. Right. He's a nervous talker. Oh yeah, he did say that.
命がけのゲームに巻き込まれちまって、普通なら一生会うこともないだろう奴らとチームを組んだ。最初はわけのわからない連中だと思ったが、いつの間にかかけがえのない仲間になってたんだ。
Again, really? I said before, it's 7 days, that's all it takes, 1 week. Again, they're playing life or death games. Maybe that's why they have such a, you know, camaraderie. How you say? Camaraderie? Camaraderie? I don't know, they're very close to each other, I guess. Only after a week.
人生の中で かなり、いや、一番稀有な経験だよ。
I nodded. Me too. I mean, I know I'm not even 20 yet, but I've never been through anything even close to this. I think the biggest surprise was you, though.
俺に
Yeah. If you told me I made someone I care about this much while trapped in an amusement park playing potentially deadly games, I've called you crazy. Well, that's the plot of this game, actually. You know? Saki,
そうか
you're breaking the fourth wall here.
そうだな俺もだ
Sure, it's been dangerous, but I wouldn't trade this for anything.
お前
Oh, they're gone. Let's go, it's time to uncover the truth and finish this game.
あ
We nodded to each other and headed off for I can't speak. We nodded to each other and headed off for Castle Hogstein. We rounded a corner and found ourselves at the plaza in front of the castle.
やっと着いたなずいぶん時間がかかっちまったが
Looks like he's got them patrolling here too. A number of piglets milled around in the plaza.
ああだが広場をうろうろしてるだけでタワーの近くにはいないようだまあ奴らも逃げた人質が戻ってくるとは思ってないだろうしな
True.
こっちとしては好都合だ行こう
Slowly we moved in closer, always sticking to the shadows. I think that button was somewhere around here. I guess Hogstein didn't bother to
これが本当の最終決戦
deactivate the secret button. Here goes. Once again, we stepped through the door and into the castle. In the middle of the main hall was a huge cube with a blue cloth draped over it. Draped. Well, that wasn't here yesterday. What's that?
ああ初日に見たな人質が閉じ込められてる檻だ
Just at that moment, Hogstein appeared from behind the cage.
せっかく逃げたのに戻ってくるとは変わった人たちですね
What are you gonna do with them?
あなたたちが逃げ出してしまったので結局こっちの人質をゲームのクリア方式にしようと思いましてね当初の予定通りで面白くないんですが仕方ありませんクリア失敗と同時に彼らはしまってしまいます
なんだと
それにしてもどうして戻ってきたんです
He looked genuinely confused. Yeah, me too as a player. Why did you just come back to where you just got captured? Ayumi fixed him with a hard stare, but again, you know, we have a gun. Maybe that help?
お前ともう一度話をするために戻ってきたんだ
残念ですが私から話すことなんて何もありませんよ
無理やりにでも聞いてもらうさ
As he spoke, Ayumu pulled the pistol out of his pocket and pointed it toward Hogstein.
そこまで本気で私と話がしたいなら白手歩さんあなたお一人でここまで来てください
一人でだと
Be careful.
ああ分かってる油断はしないさ
I mean, he's probably gonna
それに拳銃もあ
do
るし
something.
お前はここで待っていてくれ
Don't worry, I have this gun. This will surely protect me. Okay. He walked slowly toward Hogstein, his left foot still dragging. Finally, he stood in front of the pig, his hand wrapped tightly around the pistol. I hope he'll be okay.
ワルドブお前は
危ないですよ
He pointed toward me and shouted. What?
サキ大丈夫か
Aimu spun around reflexively, but by the time he realized his mistake, it was too late. Oldest trick in the book. Oh my god. He fell for it. Wow, he's just like, you know, hey, stand over there, please. You know, and then, oh, look over there. And then, suddenly, we lost our advantage. Hogstein laughed and slammed his foot into Ayumu's bad ankle. He screamed in pain and collapsed, the pistol flying out of his grip and skittering across the floor. Ayumu!
残念。武器がなくなっちゃいましたね。
この野郎。
He used me as a distraction. That's low, but also very effective. That's what you do, you know, when you're the villain and then the hero has a romantic interest right next to them, just like put her in danger, or her or him anyway, and then, you know, that's how you win. The pistol finally stopped, coming to rest near my feet. Wait. We're not out of the fight yet. Now I have the gun. I reached down to pick up the gun. It felt oddly heavy in my hand. Hogstein. He turned toward me and grinned.
あなたにそれが出ますか？
I've played Call of Duty before. No,
サキ、やめろ。
just press the trigger. All you have to do, you know, squeeze the trigger, and then, you know, it'll shoot the bullet. A sickening sort of power radiated out of the cool metal. I could kill someone with a single finger. My hands began to shake. What was it he said? You mean you wouldn't have shot them? He nodded and gave me a quick smile when he saw this.
そりゃそうさ。素人が人に
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to shoot gun. I'm like Japanese. You know, most people don't know how to shoot a gun in Japan. Only like cops maybe. Or if you go to like maybe a shooting range for like as a hobby, but otherwise, you know, we're not really allowed to shoot guns. You can't just carry guns. This is not like America or anything, Saki. Well, I feel the same way. I steadied my hand and pointed the gun at Hogstein.
やめろ。
The moment before Ayumu yelled, I pulled the trigger. Kablam! The bullet grazed Hogstein's arm and buried itself in the throne at the top of the stairs. Gotta aim properly. I want you to listen to what Ayumu has to say. I didn't let the barrel drop.
いいでしょう。あなたのお話を伺いましょうか。白木歩さん。
You can do it. Ayumu climbed slowly to his feet, then turned to face Hogstein. Okay, well maybe actually Saki aimed away from him, you know? It was just to intimidate him rather than actually kill him. Which actually requires more aim, actually. Like, it's hard to actually aim a gun directly at a particular body part, you know? Like, it's you know how like in video games everyone just goes for headshots and everything, but in real life going for headshots is actually pretty hard. You know, usually the rule for like pistols anyways to go for the body, not the head, because otherwise you're gonna miss. Anyway.
浦部の父親がやったことを真実を白日のもとにさらす。あの事故、あんなうやむやなまま過去のものにしちゃいけない。みたらしや目惜しい若さも含めて、あの事故に関わったすべての人間、そしてすべての遺族の今の気持ちや無念を形にして世の中に訴えるんだ。そう、ワルド部、お前の気持ちもだ。
そんな話、信じられないとでも思ってるんですか？
He sounded sad, or maybe disappointed.
調べあります。お前がこれまで真実を追いかけてきたのは、自分の自己満足と自己の遺族を晒し者にするためだ。
Wait, he sounds different?
あの面白おかしく書かれた記事で、遺族たちがどれだけ高貴な目にさらされた。お前は偽善と欺瞞に満ちたクズライダーだ。
Okay, well I guess, well it's funny because Hogstein I guess doesn't know the fact that Shirabe actually, in truth, had his article twisted by his superior, you know? In fact, he didn't get any money, I imagine anyway, from his article, actually. So like, you know, even though he pissed off a lot of people, he didn't gain anything anyway. You think Hogstein would do a little bit more research into that and learn about the truth, I guess. But I guess that's where the misunderstanding is coming from. Anyway, what? Come on now, that seems a little harsh. It's just yelling at him. If Hogstein thinks everything Ayumu writes is junk, he's not gonna listen to anyone who says otherwise. Get mad. And then shoot the gun. Pew! Headshot. You've already decided what the truth is, and you won't let facts stand in your way. You're the hypocrite here. Yeah, that article was terrible, but it wasn't his fault. I'm not done talking. Be quiet. You really tried to do the right thing. Ayumu didn't want the story of the crash to just disappear, so he did his best to paint a picture of what it had done to the victim so everyone would know. But his boss didn't want that. He told Ayumu to exaggerate, throw in some wild, exciting theories, anything to get people riled up, but Ayumu refused. So his boss took the article, rewrote it, and printed it. His voice was soft and quiet.
結果的に遺族に対してひどい仕打ちをしたのは事実だからな。誰がやったかとかそんな問題じゃないんだ。それに元々の記事は俺が書いた。雑誌に載った記事も俺の名前で世に出てる。
I guess, you know, he just never bothered to clear his name because it doesn't matter. You know, it's like, well, you know, even if it was like it wasn't my fault entirely, it still feels like my fault. And so even if I try to like explain it away, it wouldn't help, I guess is what he's saying. I mean, I guess there's a certain logic to it. You know, like even again, like even if like, because the first article already got super popular, even if you try to explain it away, and then you know the families understand that he didn't do that directly, they'll still you know feel the brunt of the consequences of the article that was published in the first place. So I guess that's what he's saying. Hogstein dropped to his knees. He looked shocked.
全部真実だ。ワルド部、俺を信じてくれ。
Suddenly, he leapt to his feet and grabbed Ayumu. Ah!
そこまでだ、ワルド部。ゲームはクリアしたぞ。
Oh, okay. I spun around. Guys! He stumbled backward away from Ayumu, then turned and began to run up the stairs in front of the throne.
待て、ワルド部。
But Hogstein didn't hear him or didn't listen, and disappeared through the curtains behind the throne. Hogstein.
Saki, 大丈夫か?
He was hobbling toward me as fast as he could. Ayumu. I rushed to meet him and slipped an arm around his torso. You shouldn't push yourself, you're hurt.
いや、ワルド部のやつを追わなきゃならない。
But...
おいおさ、無理すんなよ。
It's funny how everyone, you know, it's anime, I guess. Anime rules, anyone who's like 30 or whatever is actually just an old man already. I don't know.
お前たち、どうしてここへ?
Because he's not even that old, really. He's like 30.
ゲームをクリアしたのに、ワルド部のやつが現れなくてな。
But you know.
おかしいと思い、広場にやってきたんだ。
そしたらタワーの扉が開いてたから入ってきたってわけ。
そうか。
You saved us.
ああ、おい、銃をこっちに。
The cop wants his gun back? Oh, right. I almost forgot and I was holding it.
まさかお前に撃たせることになっちまうとはな。
Yeah, me either. I felt confident enough when I shot it, but now my hands are beginning to shake again.
とにかく、二人とも無事でよかった。人質はあそこか。ああ、あの檻の中にいるはずだ。助け出してやってくれ。ワルド部のことは、 俺に任せてほしい。
わかった。銃はいるか？
いや、大丈夫だ。もう銃は必要ない。
そうか。よし。俺たちは人質を助けるぞ。了解いたしました。
They trotted off, and Ayumi and I were left alone again. Grabbing to my shoulder.
ああ、ありがとう。
Again, not that old. Still relative, comparatively though, still older, like way older than Saki though. I don't know. I'm gonna, I keep complaining about that, but I don't know, it's just there. Together we made our way past the throne and through the curtains where Hogstein had disappeared. It's an elevator. Yeah, again, once again, it's an elevator. We push the button, and after a short wait, the doors open. Now, is it safe though? Is it for only Saki and Ayumu to go into the elevator and go after Hogstein themselves? I mean, he has like a bad leg and everything. Saki isn't exactly a, you know, combatant necessarily. If anything, Shido with the gun should be the one going after Hogstein, but I guess not. The elevator was completely dark, with the only light coming from the buttons for the floors. As the doors closed, I heard a single gunshot ring out, probably Shido breaking the lock on the cage. The hostages should be safe now. All that was left was to figure out Hogstein's secret. The elevator hummed as it carried us toward him. We're here. Ayumu and I humbled out of the doors and looked around. Or, not humbled? Hobbled, rather. Hobbled. We were in a small room with several television screens along one wall. There's no one here. I felt his shoulders slump. No. Then suddenly Shirabe's cell phone rang. When he looked at who was calling, I saw his eyebrows shoot up in surprise.
M2? ワルド部？お前か？
He's not saying anything. Why did he call? The person on the other end didn't say anything for a long time. I assume he put the cell phone on speaker, maybe, so that Saki could hear. While Ayumu waited, I heard the tinny voice of a young man from the speaker. Okay, there's his real voice again, by the way. We actually heard his voice a little bit in Wakasa's route, but we hear it here as well, I guess.
いつになっても構わんよ。
Okay, and we just left him like that. We're not gonna punish him for like blowing up a Ferris wheel, you know, capturing a bunch of people, putting them as hostages, you know, making us go through deadly games. Basically, you know, attempted murder on many counts. So, I don't know. Yeah, he hung up. Ayumu turned to me and grinned. You know, it's like, oh well.
終わったよ。いや、今ようやく始まったのか。
It's like, you know, it's fine. We'll let him go because he has a tragic, you know, backstory. Don't worry about it. We'll forgive him for all his actual crimes. Yeah, you're right. It was the beginning of a long fight to show the world the truth about the crash 12 years ago. But it was the end of Hogstein's games. All of us, even the hostages, could finally leave. It's finally over. I felt a wave of emotion wash over me, like I've been holding them back for the last 7 days. Ayumu. I threw my arms around him.
おい、さっき。
He blinked in surprise and grinned and hugged me back. Now you better explain this relationship to Saki's parents, by the way. I don't know if they're around. It's like an anime thing where her parents are just not around. I don't know. Maybe you gotta convince her legal guardian, Keiji Inafune, about this relationship. I don't know. He blinked in surprise and grinned and hugged me back. The warmth and love of his embrace was like nothing I'd ever felt before. It smelled like Pocky. There we go. 6 months had passed since that week in the park. I had really captured public interest for a while after we were released. Fortunately though, Shido was able to keep the 7 of us hidden from the prying eyes of the media. Yep, the same. After the convention, his father was brought in for questioning. Okay. The case regarding the bus crash was reopened. Just as Ayumi had thought, the piglets turned out to be brainwashed civilians. Apparently, they hadn't remembered anything about what had happened. Okay, this time it's a brainwash? Before they were said they were hypnotized. Now it's brainwashed? It's technically different. I don't know how it was translated. Maybe it's the same either way. Maybe they use the same word for both. For all the endings, they always say the civilians are hypnotized, but actually it just means brainwash. The police were frustrated, but I had a feeling the people who had been piglets were probably happier not to remember anything. As soon as his ankle had healed, Ayumu was back at work, busy hunting down information about the crash. He interviewed Mitarashi and Meoshi several times, and began to put together the details of what had happened. He is a freelance journalist, so he's not getting paid for any of this, so does he even have any money to do all that, I wonder? Or maybe he has savings. Maybe he does some part-time journalism, on the side. Anyway, we also went to each of the families that had named in his that had been named. I don't know why I didn't read been. He also went to each of the families that had been named in his original story and apologized for what had happened. Some of them refused to even meet with him, but he kept trying. But even after 6 months, Hogstein hadn't contacted him. Ayumu didn't give up and continued to wait for the phone call he believed was coming. I don't think Hogstein wants to admit anything because he's gonna go to jail, if he does. He's gonna incriminate himself. I hadn't been able to see him much since he was so busy with work. Mai and I played every week though, which was nice. She started living with him again afterward. He had a hard time as a single dad though, so I went over to his house on the weekends to help out. I helped shop and clean, yes. And although it was a lot of work, Mai helped out and we had fun. Finally, the day I waited for had come. The 3 of us were going to spend a day at the park. I finally opened up 3 months ago, but Ayumu had been too busy to come. This will be the first time the 3 of us have been able to do something together in a long, long time.
久しぶりだな。お前とこうして歩くのも。
How's your story going?
ああ、取材の方は問題なく進んでる。それに、いい加減お前に会いたくてたまらなくなってな。
Yeah, I miss you too.
パパ、お姉ちゃん、マイとお手手つなごう。
Okay. My god, they're like a family or something. I do like, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned before, but I do like Saki's design though. I don't know, he does look like prime waifu material, is all I'm saying. Ayumu took her right and I took her left, and together we walked through the park. Mai sure looks happy.
パパと新しいママとマイで仲良し。
What? I felt my face turn bright red. No, I'm not your mommy. Yet. Yet.
ママか。
He looked at me and grinned. Huh? What's he thinking? You gotta put a pocky, that's how he's gonna propose. He's gonna give you a pocky, and then everyone will have pockies in their mouths forever. Pocky family. Suddenly, Mai broke away and ran over toward one of the rides.
パパ、こっちこっち。マイ、あれに乗りたい。
ああ、今行く。先、行こう。
Yeah. I took the hand he had held out to me, and we followed Mai over to the ride. They were both so precious to me. I wanted to stay with them for a long, long time. I looked up at Ayumu's face and smiled. Okay, and I assume that's the ending? There you go. That is Shirabe's route. Basically the hot single dads in your area ending. Or whatever, that's his character. Yeah, well, that's not... Well, not only the part of... Like, it's not the only thing that defines his character, I guess. There's some more CGs, by the way. Where you hang out with Shirabe, which we didn't see before. But yeah, again, I don't know, the age gap is weird, but whatever, it's fiction. I guess it doesn't matter. I do like his character though, despite my I don't know what the word is. My I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Hesitation? I don't know. I just don't really like the whole age gap thing. But despite that, I do like his character though. I do like that, you know, that he's trying to find the truth and everything. I do like the way he punched that piglet in the face. I do like how his backstory is all about, you know, trying to figure out the core mystery of what's going on and Hogstein's motivation and everything. I guess we didn't really learn exactly why, still, like, Hogstein's identity, but, you know, I do like his story as a character. That's why, I don't know, it's kind of a shame, at least for me, that this is just an Otome game, you know? So definitely, it was built to be an Otome game first, with the smooching, you know, first, in mind, and the mystery is secondary, you know? I'm actually the opposite. I'm actually more interested in the mystery. I'm more interested in, like, you know, figuring out what's going on, and, you know, the reason why these people are here, and why Hogstein's trying to capture everyone, and I guess get his revenge somehow. That's more interesting to me, I feel like. So, it always ends with like, oh, you know, never mind that. Here's a happy ending with your husbando, or whatever. Which is cool. I mean, it's just, that's just what it is. That's what it's marketed as. Which I feel is pretty niche already. Like, visual novels in general are pretty niche, especially when you localize them. But to make it an Otome game as well, that's even more niche, I feel like. So they really just, like, double down on how, you know, how small their player base would be, I feel like. Whatever, that's fine, though. Finn. Anyway, let's see the other ending, by the way. I want to see the other ending. I don't know what happens there. Is he like, well, I have to guess, like, probably he'll say, like, Saki, you're too young for me. You know, the realistic ending. You're too young for me, we can't make out, it's kind of weird. Like, you're like a kid in high school, and I'm like a full-grown adult. Like, I don't know. Even if it's, like, technically legal in Japan. You're basically like a baby in diapers compared to me. So, actually not here. Whoops, I didn't even do that. Go to his stage, and then go to 0. So just put 0 and then just go. So we'll quickly go through his route again and see what the bad ending is like. That's what I always do. I don't know. And when I play any kind of game, I do like bad endings. Which is different from game over, because there are a lot of game overs in this game as well, where you basically just die, which is sometimes pretty funny, you know. But they're not as interesting, I feel like. All right, so I think this is the new part. Okay, we can't skip this part. So this is right after you know, he explained that his story was twisted, you know, and then Hogstein left, and all the other guys came by. So we just stood there, staring at the spot where Hogstein had disappeared. I didn't know what to do either, so I stayed put. I turned around to look at him. Shiro, why are you here? Okay, that's why they're here. I don't know if they said that before. Oh, I see. Okay. I handed it over. Yeah. I knew he wasn't saying I'd done something wrong, but I felt my shoulders sag anyway. I spun around to see Ayumu collapse. No! Oh gosh, are you okay?
Shirabe-san, あなたはここで休んでいてくれ。みたらし流星、浦部君まろ、お前たちはワルドブーのやつを追え。俺たちは人質を助け出す。Okay, so this time, you know, Shirabe and Saki doesn't go or try to go confront Hogstein.
行ってまいります。
よし、俺たちも行こう。了解。
They scattered, leaving me alone with him. Are you okay? A few moments later, I heard the sound of a gunshot. Shido breaking the lock on the cage. Okay, that's the order. Wait a minute. Why did the gun shoot? Oh, okay, the cage. I thought he got shot or something. Like, surprise! Oh, good. Now the hostages will be safe.
そうだな。
He nodded vaguely and his eyes fluttered closed. Hayemu, hang on! Hayemu! Uh-oh. 6 months had passed since that week in the park. It had really captured public interest for a while after we were released. Fortunately, though, Shido was able to keep the 7 of us hidden from the prying eyes of the media. After Urabe's convention, his father was brought in for questioning. The case regarding the bus crash was reopened. Just as Ayumi thought, the piglets turned out to be brainwashed civilians. Apparently, they hadn't remembered anything about what had happened. The police were frustrated, but I had a feeling the people who'd been piglets were probably happier to not remember anything. Okay, this is the same. There was a desperate attempt to find Hogstein, but he escaped completely. After Ayumi collapsed, he'd gotten a call from Hogstein on his phone. At least that's what Shido had told me. Since he'd been unconscious, though, he hadn't been able to answer it. He tried calling back several times once he woke up, but it never connected. Apparently, Ayumi had been pretty upset about it. No, this time he missed the phone call, I guess. Mitarashi had told me a couple months ago that Ayumu's ankle had gotten worse and he had started using a cane. He had given Mitarashi a sad smile, and said, "Legs are a journalist's most important tool. Without mine, I'm done for." I mean, you can use a car? I mean, you don't have to walk everywhere, do you? But he hadn't let that stop him, and had gone back to digging up anything he could about the crash. After Ayumu left the hospital, I never saw him again. He didn't even tell me he was going to be released. One day, he was just gone. I tried calling him, but all he told me was, "I can't afford to be tied down right now." On top of his investigation into the bus crash, now Ayumi was obsessed with tracking down Hogstein and figuring out his true identity. Okay, so in this ending, he got
それでも俺は真実が知りたい。
obsessed with the case even more,
自身が前に進めないよう
and
な気が
so
するんだ。
didn't bother ending up with Saki, I guess, is the idea. Let his obsession swallow his life. I understood those words now much better than I had when he said them. He was out there somewhere right now, chasing down the truth. I hadn't been able to fix his stop clock. Whatever connection he built, or we've built, had evaporated. I wonder how mine's doing. I looked up at the wide blue sky, but as beautiful as it was, it couldn't fill the echoing hole in my heart. How poetic. Alright, so that's the bad ending. Not the one I expected. I thought really it was. I don't know. They mentioned it like a little bit, but like, you know, I was hoping they're gonna say like, "Hey, Saki, you're too young for me." You know, that's what I was thinking. But I guess that's not what it was. All right, that's fine. Whatever. That was Shirabe's route. There you go. So we finished that route, and let's see. I'm trying to count the husbandos on the title screen. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we did 4. There's only 3 more, I guess. So more than halfway at this point. So I guess the next one would be I guess Urabe? Yeah, Urabe. I wonder about his route. I don't know how much it changes, because he was a traitor, right? And he disappears. I wonder if the story changes significantly if he, you know, grows attached to Saki, because otherwise, how would he even be in the story? You know, it's like if that hospital explosion happened and then he's just not around, or maybe this time he is around. You know, this time he does like he does go through the secret entrance. You know, you remember in the hospital explosion, he always disappears, but this time maybe he doesn't disappear and actually hangs around. Maybe that's what happens. I guess we'll see.